I think that's our third game where we've held a team to 0. And I'm a coach that believes and works very hard in having the right mentality and attitude, because I think it just eats it up when you're talking about coaching, game plans and strategies and whatnot. They're important, but they're not as important as having the right attitude. And you can't defend like that if you haven't got the right attitude and the will to play for each other. That was a really evident moment there tonight in regards to how they wanted to play for each other, and it was our bit of a plan, a bit of a talk this week amongst us that we had to have our Origin players come back and feel the enthusiasm and energy that we've got in our squad. We couldn't ride on their coattails, but just getting them back into camp last night, those boys were buzzing to play. It was a really good feeling. I mean, there's lots of downtime and lots of times you feel crappy. We feel good at the moment about the way we played, and I want them to enjoy that feeling, because you get used to that feeling. It's a little bit like getting, where we've been over the last 18 months, getting used to those close losses. You get used to winning like that. You get used to winning tight games. You get used to playing for each other. It becomes a habit.
2 away wins too, Ricky, and both of that. Josh Watson,
Yeah, we've spoken about that, Margie, that without Josh, without those 2 young forwards, Corey and Hudson Young, boys who are learning how to play first grade, and the guy who conducts our ruck and attack in Josh, these games are going to be very, very important on how it's going to shape the back end of our season. We're still not out of the woods. We might be in the 8, but it's a tough competition and can turn quickly. It's why I focus on 1 week at a time attitude. But having especially Josh out, was Lever and Tommy Starling's coming on, and they're doing their job, and that's important.
Thinking behind Sam Williams, did he have an injury or Nathan had a great?
No, it was just a gut feeling of mine, Margie, that I went with Aiden this week. He played well last week, but so did Sam. And with Jack coming back, I just thought that last week they went down our right edge a lot. Seb Chris had to make 30-odd tackles last week, and there was his real debut game. It was his first starting game at centre. That's a huge challenge, but so did Sammy. He made over 30 tackles too as a halfback, and Sammy hasn't got a big body, and it was a shorter turnaround. I just had a gut feeling that, this is probably a week where I needed Aiden. He's got good leg speed, he had a bigger frame, and I must admit the way Sam handled it was just class. He's a class bloke, he's a Raider. He epitomises that team first value that we talk about. It can be overused, that value, but definitely not with Sam Williams. He actually even said, I've been dropped before for missing tackles. I've never been dropped for making them. So he handled it quite well, but he'll be back in there at some stage. I'm very fortunate at the moment where I have that opportunity to pick and choose.
I guess sort of Frank to go with him as well.
Beg your pardon, mate. Sorry.
I guess Frank will confirm that decision to go with Aiden as well tonight.
With Aiden's performance?
Yeah.
Yes. Well, sometimes it's a nice feeling to get it right, and it was probably the right decision tonight. He really he aimed up and played well tonight, Aiden. He took the line on a lot. He scored a good try there where he had the intercept. More importantly, he was very strong defensively. That was the pleasing factor in his game too.
Rick, those first 2 tries of the English drills, soccer drills, the team, or?
I was just asked that on Channel 9. I was Johnny Bateman last week, Nick this week, kicking it. They stuff around at training and doing all that sort of stuff, and I'd love to take the rap to say they're my drills, but they're not. They're the Pommy boys, especially Batty and Elliot and Hodjo, they're always muck around with soccer skills and drills at training with the footy, and so is Nick. So those types of that type of practice is always going to be used at some stage in our game.
Why were you up in the press box? Usually you're on the sideline.
It's just a bit
Cold or?
No, it wasn't cold. It's beautiful weather here. No, where the seats are at the stadium here, they're right back from where they normally are, so it was going to be harder for me to see. So, but it was good for me tonight to go up high and see the boys operating upstairs, and I got you get a different view up there, and it was nice to be able to see that. It's a wonderful stadium. It's just magic. It's first class the way they've designed this and built it.
Jealous, you were hoping that perhaps Canberra can do something?
I just Channel 9, Joey Johns just asked me the same question about Canberra. No, Freddie asked me the question about Canberra with his stadium. Look, I don't know if it's a political thing. I don't know if we've got the money. I don't know if the light rail has taken all our money or whatnot. This would put Canberra, the nation's capital, into another level of living, having a stadium such as this quality. I really hope that I think it's Andrew Bars, who's our chief minister, who's got to make these decisions. I really hope that he does look fondly upon building this very soon. Our fans definitely need it. Like that was unbelievable. Our fans there tonight. It sounded like we're in England at an English soccer game, and it was like a home game for us. The fans that were here tonight. It was our sponsors trip. It was the first time we've won since 2003 on a sponsors trip, and our fans here tonight with that Viking clap and with the buzz and the hum of their singing, it was just an extraordinary feeling, and it was really nice to be involved in. The Brumbies, we get a soccer team in Canberra. The Raiders, our fans deserve the comfort and the first class treatment they get here at this stadium. And I know Andrew Barr's all about Canberra, and I really hope that the decision is made that we build this stadium very, very soon, because I think we really deserve it as a nation's capital.
Papa, what can you say about him?
I put a statue of him outside the stadium. He was great. The three boys backing up the way they did. Nick wouldn't hear of it not playing tonight. We put him through a pretty extensive physical test this morning, and walking into it, he said, I'll be playing, I'll be right. And that's a wonderful attitude for a young man coming back from his first Origin game. Josh Papali, he was I put him on the bench to give me that little bit of energy on the back end of the first half. He provided that. He did an amazing job, Josh, backing up after playing in the middle again and probably being one of the best for Queensland on Wednesday night. And Jack, he's a big difference in our football team when he's on.